Is it okay that I swear in the video?
You can swear, yeah. I
Only
mean, what is he even doing? What's the thought process, Peanut? Okay, you have to go down now. Okay, down.
Ready?
What?
Those hind legs as well. Come on.
Go on.
We can cuddle later.
Peanut.
Come on, down. You can sniff my car keys.
Stay. Sniff the keys.
Yeah.
Good boy, you stay there.
Good boy.
Sniff the keys. Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to do it, Lou. You ready? Sunday sounds better with Bryony Williams.
May I just say
Yeah.
that it's Sundays sound better.
Sundays. Okay, I'll try it again.
Also, should I move this out?
You can
or-
move that out, yeah.
Okay.
Sundays.
Is that
Should we leave the? We'll leave the catchphrase for this.
Or do you want me to say
I don't.
Sunday? What is it?
Yeah, go on. So you do. You do the first half.
say
I'll
it.
do the second half. We'll try it. Go.
Sundays sound better.
With Bryony Williams. Do you think that works?
Yeah.
I don't.
I think you need to put some like clapping audio over that just to be like, woo. Like,
Truthfully, I don't think I'm ever going to be the kind of person who's comfortable with catchphrases.
yeah.
Bryony.
But maybe that's the sweet spot in a way. Like,
Yeah. Well, we've got dogs. That's surely a plus for the algorithm. Delighted to welcome you to the channel, Bryony. The reason this is set up like this today, cheers, is we are rehearsing for an acoustic show, which is coming up pretty soon. We'll talk about that in a sec, but I think the first thing that we'll get into is, live. Part of the reason that like this story arc, if you like, has happened on the channel is that I've joined the Bryony Williams band, right?
You have.
And it is a bloody great band. So what's it like being a band leader, Bryony?
Oh.
And my boss.
I am the boss, yes. What is it like? Well, I mean, it takes some working out, really. But it's nice, really, to work with other people in terms of the band. Because obviously before, obviously it's a solo project, but the band's quite new, really, to it, to translate the music, the recorded music into a live performance. But yeah, it's great, but it can be a bit of a headache. Trying to organise getting 4 people into one space.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Oh, I remember it. I remember it so well. The thing that I always come back to with band leaders and good band leaders, and there's like 2 types in my head. And I think like the one that you are is like the best type of band leader.
Oh, wow.
Personally speaking. And I've experienced them all, and I was definitely the other type of band leader. You've got like benign dictatorships, right?
Okay.
Where you've got like a dude or a dudette, who basically, they will tell you pretty quickly if you're doing something they don't like. They're not perhaps that open.
Sure.
In the operation of it. And they kind of crowbar, their emotion in the moment into the situation, which, it might feel like the right emotion in that moment, but, it doesn't always lead to the best outcomes because sometimes you've got to let go.
Yeah.
Right. I think you don't, I don't think you fall into that category. You're not a crowbar wielder. You're like the kind of quite fearless, and kind of open band leader, which is to say you're like confident enough in the people you've arranged and your own abilities and the songs specifically that you don't need to do that. What I'm coming around to is, does it feel like that when you're operating as a band leader?
What, to be fearless?
Well, like, do you go into it with an open heart creatively?
Yeah. And I think that's because I think as this leader, and I think I never really see myself as that. So it was kind of, initially it was kind of hard for me to kind of almost resonate with what you're saying in a way, because I just never see myself like, I don't know, at the top of a pyramid or anything. I just see it as more like a collaboration. And I think I've just got so much trust in, yourself and the band and the people that I, orchestrate around me, that it allows me to continue just authentically as well, because that's just how I am as a person.
Well,
to just be open and just to trust other people's opinions, thoughts, ideas. And I'm very open to that because, well, why not?
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
Do you see what I did there, Lou? I was going to jackknife into the sentence because I thought of something. I'm getting better at not stamping on people's sentences. Oh. Do you see the self-control?
I did.
That's a really good point. And I would say you have amassed I'm all right. But Hector and Dan, they are a fantastic rhythm section. I say that, I'm a bit older than you guys, in case you haven't noticed. They are, and I've said this to them, because I don't think people are, in my experience of working with, in bands, people don't get told enough how great they are.
Yeah.
It's important to tell people that they are great, because that helps. You know what I mean? And I honestly think they're one of the best rhythm sections that I've ever played with. So I don't know how did you find those guys? How does that?
I made a wish. Well, Dan, I know from school originally.
That's mad, isn't it?
We were in GCSE music together, and we.
Who got the better grade? Can you remember?
Probably Dan.
Dan's more of a nerd.
I would.
Yeah.
Well, he's more technical minded.
Yeah. Okay.
Really,
yeah. He certainly brings a real professionalism to it.
Yeah, because he was at that point he was already gigging.
Well, he was ahead of the game. He was ahead of you.
Definitely. Yeah.
Interesting.
So if he got above a C. Then Dan, you've won.
Yeah,
the
nice.
GCSE battle. Because just Chopin wasn't my thing.
Yeah, no, fair enough, man. Yeah, I mean,
or maybe he was. I can't remember.
You'll have to find out. Re-listen.
Yeah. But but through GCSE music, that's where I figured out I could sing. Because
interesting.
I was playing guitar before, and songwriting, and singing to myself to make songs, and then with a project, we had to make a song, and you couldn't work with anyone else. You had to make a song, and you had to sing it, whether you could sing or not. You weren't being graded on that. So I recorded my song, an original, which I think I even put on YouTube back in the day.
What was it called?
Come and Go.
Come and Go. That is a classic.
Terrible.
That's a classic first song, isn't it? I'm trying to think of some other type. I've got. Do you want to know my first song?
Go on. Yeah, I do.
The first song that I ever wrote. It's we printed. It was Christmas Day, 1995. It was called "Tomorrow's Another Day."
Well, it is.
And it was basically a copy of The Master Plan by Oasis with slightly different lyrics.
That's funny.
So what was yours a copy of?
That was written before my time.
Yeah. Before you were born. Good Lord. What was...
but yeah, so there's
is it a year before you were even born? I wrote my first song.
Yeah.
Damn.
So,
yeah. Back to your first song.
Sure.
What was it a copy of? What were you what were you into at that point?
Paramore.
Okay.
Yeah. More like the Only Exception album.
Yeah.
Well, it's not called that, but one of the songs was from that album.
Yeah.
With the butterfly on it.
Yeah. Great album.
I think I listened to that consistently.
Yeah, interesting.
Had Hayley Williams upon
Don't think we've talked about that at all. I don't think I knew that about your...
Okay. Yeah.
That's cool.
I don't really know what else I was listening to.
No, fair enough.
Probably just Paramore.
So,
some others,
and then Hector didn't go to school with you.
No.
Hector's the drummer.
Hector is the drummer. Yeah. Hector, I believe I know Hector. My brain, just in general, is a mess. My memory's a mess. I have scatterbrain all the time. But I believe I met Hector through the Worcester Music Festival. / him and his brother, and they still do today, run a music promo blog called Boneyard Promo.
Oh yeah, I've never seen that.
I think that's how I know Hector originally, is that maybe I reached out to them to like review one of my singles.
That's cool.
Back like years ago.
And he was like, he actually got back, and and you're like, oh my god, somebody in the music industry returned a fucking email.
they're pretty good at that, to be honest. So I mean, for anyone else, I mean, do reach out.
Sorry, I've got
them.
an itchy nose today. My apologies.
But how
We'll
I
just
figured
close up
out,
on Bryony there.
but how I figured out Hector played the drums or anything like that, I have no idea, and I can't remember our first rehearsal or anything. But I just know that he's in the band.
Yeah, he's great. They're both brilliant. Like I talked to, had nice chats to both of them on the. Like obviously my first tour has been documented on this YouTube channel, and like the first rehearsals and stuff, and like got to know them. Like obviously you get you chat at rehearsal, but got to know them a little bit better like in the van as you do, and Hector's story was like what he said to me is that like basically he was like into it. He was like into your songs, and then he was like. Just like I don't know if he was looking for a project, but basically he was kind of like a fan, if you like. And then that's great, isn't it? And I think like that is so hard to find in band members, people that are like pulling or pushing in the right, in the same direction as you. The only time bands, whether they are like based around solo projects or like a band name, the only time that stuff works is when everyone is like dragging it in the same direction because it's hard. And I can honestly think back in my life, in our life, Pinfields, there's probably in the 20 years I've been doing it, I reckon there's only about 2 years of that where it felt like everyone that was in that room was like fully pushing in the right direction, and it makes such a stuff happened because of that. So that is important, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you consider the band when you're writing songs?
No. Well, no. I guess I've just always. I don't even know how to say it. Just like how I make songs hasn't really changed, really. Like in how it considers other things. Like I guess my main thing is I've just got to initially write the song and then I need to then bring it to others such as yourself, like in here, like producing or with the band to then like almost like unlock my brain to hear or like to unlock the next stage of like how that song can kind of like go from just me playing it on a guitar to then it being translated to like a band thing. I mean, I can kind of map out, obviously how I want it to sound, and I can kind of maybe hear it, but to actually then have that like in terms of like literally in front of me, then that's when I need to, rely and recruit on.
That's
other brilliant people.
Because every band leader, every artist, that leads an ensemble is different in that respect, I think. What I've noticed in the rehearsal room, maybe people don't know that, this is at least one of the rooms that the album, that album.
Nice little segue there.
Yeah, look at that.
Da-da-da.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is a vinyl record.
Oh, there's a CD in there as well.
And a CD for the plebs.
Just,
I'm joking.
CDs.
I still love a CD. Like, I mean, I don't have anything to play either of these things on, but I've got like suitcases full of CDs downstairs that I will never throw away. Where did we get to then? We were. Oh yeah, go on.
Song translating.
Yeah, I just got distracted by the artwork.
Here making the album was.
I'm going to sneeze now as well. Incredibly unprofessional.
No, you're not going to sneeze though.
Don't say that. Peanut's asleep as well. This was one of. I'm not going to sneeze. This was one of 2 or 3 rooms that the album was made in.
Yeah.
And certainly the way that this record has gone, and the way that I'm familiar with your creative process, even before I joined the party, as it were, the idea that I had was you make the record and then you bring it to the band and you trust the band to play the best version of it. How do you choose which ones go into like an already populated set list?
I just try and cram as many as I can in. Really, because it's really hard to choose one over the other in a way. However, I guess what one blessing is like, I guess a couple on like, I refer to it as the B side, the second side really.
Side 2 of the record.
Is that, they're more like, in my head anyway, it can be seen that it's more like orchestral ballads kind of vibes. So for just kind of, I guess it's easier to attack as a band the ones that are pretty more straightforward in that sense, like say In Between Days or something, where it is just like guitars, bass, drums, vocals.
That's interesting. Yeah, I've never really thought about like the split side to side, but yeah, like you've definitely got a couple on that side too that are like that we haven't looked at.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. Yeah.
Yeah, and like My Devotion, and I guess just the easiest way for me to then, initially anyway, to have like chosen is just like, well, what are the easiest tracks really? For us to just do in a rehearsal. Whereas like,
and what'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly, and fun.
And I guess like
energy as well.
Yeah,
actually.
and like we're limited, I guess, in how much we can rehearse because of the way life is. With band members, your GX10's about to turn off. Press a button.
There you go.
Because they kind of live everywhere. Obviously, everyone has their own lives, man, and like it's hard to fit it all in.
Yeah.
So you're not presented with a situation where you can just like
we don't have like a week in a big rehearsal space where we can just exist there. Like we're always on a time crunch.
Yeah.
I think our longest rehearsal has been 5 hours once, which obviously then we don't really see each other unless we're rehearsing or at a gig. So then we're trying to catch up at the same time, and before we know it, we've probably ran the set. I think it's before tour. I think we had like a 5-hour session and we ran it once.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, we've got
Well,
to
that's gonna have to
And
do.
Dan's packing up his bass. He's like, I've got to run for my train now.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, what? Where's the time gone?
Yeah.
So
that's the reality though, isn't it?
Yeah.
And like, in a way, we're lucky that we have any rehearsal. I will say that the approach with the live band, and I know we've kind of been on the live band for a bit, but that bit fascinates me because I obviously joined it, that's like an area that I have a lot of experience, Your approach with the live band, like I think for longevity, that's like longevity as an artist, I think that's the best option. Like at this point, it's like it's already quite like a professional setup. Is that something you think about, or is that just how you?
Again, I just think it just comes back to time, really. I think after rehearsal, it would be great to like, oh, let's just go down like a pub. Let's, and then let's have a drink, let's have a proper catch up and, just chew the fat really. But there's not even time to do that. So it purely has to be about the objective, which is rehearsing the music.
Yeah.
And then
get it as good as it can be.
Yeah. Everyone's just already in that mindset as well. I think we're all pretty much on the same level when it comes to, I say being professional, but I think we're just there to do a job, aren't we? But a fun job. I mean, it's not.
Well, what? Yeah,
it's great fun.
It is great fun. It's got to be fun first and foremost. Like I always say that. I say it to everyone. It's got to be fun, and playing is the most fun you can have. Recording is like obviously for some people. Like for me, it's like I couldn't choose between. Which one do you prefer?
What, recording
or performing? Yeah. I mean, I know nobody's going to choose emailing promoters.
Which is what you spend most of your time doing.
Which one do you prefer?
Oh, well, performing, I mean, you just have the adrenaline rush, don't you? And as soon as you're on stage, you just want to stay on stage. So it has to be performing, really. It just take it. Because it's something different. You can just, I don't know, you can just let go.
You can.
Whereas recording, they're two completely different things.
They are.
Aren't they?
I would say this as well, as like an older, as not an older, I've had 20 years in the game, like at least. It's, if you don't love performance,
what are you doing?
then you're screwed. Yeah, you are screwed.
Yeah.
There are people that exist outside of like the live music space, but I mean, you know, that's such a huge part of it these days. How you know, how have you found, like, you know, sort of since you kind of became more serious with it, like, let's say in the last 5 years, right? How have you found your, you know, how the navigating the industry element?
Okay, in terms of the live.
Well, just anything. Is there anything that's like shocked you about, you know, the industry, you know, or like anything that you're just like, wow, okay, like.
I don't know if I've been shocked. I think I'm quite hard to shock.
The business I'm talking about, you know.
Yeah, I'm just quite neutral all the time. So, I guess how I've just found the last 5 years in terms of the industry is, I think, maybe seeing through the smoke and mirrors a little bit, really. Like, I always think, you know, if I work with this person, or if I get this opportunity with so-and-so, that'll, obviously it's a stepping stones, which they are. And I guess I always quite put a lot of people on a pedestal, really, in the industry. Like, I think, well, that's their job. They know what they're doing, which I'm sure they do. But then I guess just not seeing everything as the golden ticket, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Like, it's really easy to be like...
From a, you know, a more cynical man might say, there is no golden ticket.
Yeah.
You know, that like everything you do, everything that you're doing is exactly what you should be doing, what you need to be doing. You know, I'm glad nothing shocked you, because like it is. I found one of the reasons I stopped as, like, you know, I stopped at 32, 33. One of the reasons I stopped, really, I just found some of the people, you know, I took it so seriously, probably too seriously, and like too kind of, you know, my personal feelings towards the project, if you like, would be kind of quite intimately connected to what was going on, if you like, going on. And I just found like the callousness and the kind of the disregard, you know, at really all levels of like the business end of things, to be really detrimental to like creating great music. Have you encountered that feeling where you're just like, why do we bother, you know?
I don't know.
No.
I actually don't know.
I'm very glad about that.
Yeah.
Because it's not a nice, you know, maybe like encountering that is in itself, it's like on some level, it's like you've got to allow it to happen.
I guess, I guess just that impact, and not letting anything kind of like interfere with or negatively impact
the
me.
creative process.
If say, I don't know, like if say there's just something that, like, I don't know, you might, I don't know really. I guess I just don't let things kind of come into my my kind of sphere, really.
Yeah, no, that I think is huge. You know? Like, I think that is the key. That the older I get, the more I realise that's what separates successful people from, or one of the things that separates, obviously, having great songs.
Yeah.
But like having that like natural sort of armour against that, and like protecting the creative process.
Yeah.
It doesn't come naturally to everyone, and some people just aren't able to do it. You know, some people aren't able to like actually protect it just because of the way they are, and that was me.
Yeah.
You know, I found it incredibly.
Yeah, and not to get influenced by others, I think, is a key thing for me as well. Like, I think it's so easy to look at other people, like, around you that are releasing other music, and I know, obviously online, like, you can see their successes and stuff, and I think it's easy for people to then almost try and do the same thing as what someone else is doing, just because they're seeing that success in someone else.
Yeah,
like,
on a purely kind of
like
aesthetic
copy.
level.
Yeah,
in terms of the music.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I just think I've just naturally, I've just been quite secure, if I'm honest, in what I naturally, my creative instincts, really.
classic suburbia. What happened can't be forgotten. Meet me on the roof and watch me jump, watch me jump. I love to dance, won't you dance with me? Take my hand and trip me up, trip me up. I love to dance, won't you dance with me? Take me by the hand and lead the way, lead the way. Take him for a fool again. Watch me jump. I can't believe, I can't believe. I come to visit, gift you flowers, but you're not in, so I decide to eat them. Next our bodies are in conversation. How romantic on your mother's couch. What? I thought this time it would be different, but I guess you've gone ahead and ghosted me. So I discuss it with my therapist and she agrees that you're no good for. I love to dance, won't you dance with me? Take my hand and trip me up. I love to dance, won't you dance with me? Take me by the hand and lead the way, lead the way. Take him for a fool again. Now watch me go. I can't believe that you've got up and gone and done it all again to me. I can't believe that you've got up and gone and done it all again to me. Now watch me go. Watch me go.
Bryony and I don't, she knows I'm not bullying, on this. It's like, is genuinely one of the best melody writers that I've ever come across. And it is an instinctive melody writer. Let's just think, how talk about that process a bit, if you don't mind, because it baffles me. The lyrics as well. You have that thing that all great lyricists have, which is you read the lyrics and you go, oh, I could do that. That looks pretty easy. Right. And then you, as if you ever tried to write lyrics, not easy.
No.
And to make it feel as effortless and as or to make it sound as effortless. And what's the word? To have the ability to bring people in with them. That is a skill in itself, and it's a rare talent. So let's talk about Trip Me Up. That was 2 guitar parts and a melody, wasn't it?
Yeah, as a demo. At home. And I originally wrote the verse and the chorus years ago. I think I was back in uni, so...
It's long before the album.
Yeah, 2018, maybe something like that. 2017.
Wow.
Maybe. Something like that. And, well, in terms of the lyrics, I mean, the first verse anyway, and I guess the chorus, originally was inspired by the film The Virgin Suicides.
Is that on our list? Have we seen that?
I've seen it. I don't know if you.
Yeah, it's kind of like
you ask,
culty, is it? A kind of cult classic kind of vibe.
That's cool.
An ambiguous kind of film.
What's the feel of The Virgin Suicides, in terms of how does that... Because I've got an idea in my head about how it connects to that song. So I want you to see. I want to see if it matches. See if it matches. Yeah.
Okay. It's just a bit eerie, I guess.
Where's it set?
Suburbia. Kind of, like an American cul-de-sac vibe.
That is mad. That is mad.
It's kind of... maybe I don't know what year it was made. Whether it was 90s, 2000s or anything, but it had this kind of nostalgic retro feel to it, kind of like Twin Peaky.
That's what like I get when I listen to Trip Me Up. I imagine like being on my chopper.
What, like a chopper, like a
bike?
Oh, okay, not a heli. But a chopper,
Yeah,
okay.
like being on my like bike, and I'm about 14 or 15 years old.
Okay.
And I'm not in America because it's another story for another day. I have lived in for a short time the American suburbs, but being, you know, it reminds me of being a kid round here. I never had a chopper either. It would have been a mountain bike. Like
A kid can dream.
Driving around, about 14 or 15, wide open. You know, just great feeling.
Yeah.
You know, I know that's not what the song's about, but like that's the kind of what you've imbued in that.
Yeah, which I think does link to the film. Really, it's, you know, it's about youngsters, maybe even like, you know, like high schooly vibes, and really when you're a teenager, like, you know, one thing can happen and it can feel like your whole world is crashing down when it's not. You know, it's not. That's also part of the film, and I mean, the film's quite dark, actually.
Is it?
Well, I mean, hence the title.
Yeah.
Not to give the plot away, but it's dark, but there's like this beauty in it, and I think that does translate through the song.
I think the lyrics in Trip Me Up are fantastic. I also love, from a songwriting kind of like tech point of view, the way that the second verse and the first verse are like completely different.
Yeah, well,
melodies.
That's because melodies. Well, I don't know. What,
you know, and like the whole form of the melody is different in verse 1 and verse 2. That is an incredible thing to be able to pull off without it feeling like really disjointed. Yeah.
But I think that's kind of.
It's obviously a great chorus.
I mean, I remember when we were in the studio years before with my EP Conscious, and we had that kind of talk around the song narrative form, because that was two separate songs almost. But I
it's another favourite.
Bought it as one song, and you were like, "There's like 3 different songs in this," but we still made it, you know. I think
you've got better. Like, you know, obviously you were really young at that point, weren't you? And I was younger. Miss those days. You've got much better as an editor. As a writer, and I think a huge part about being a writer, I don't know if you'd agree with this, is like the editing. For example, like when you know, the creative process, you've got this hard drive at the minute, you know, without giving too much away, we've got a hard drive with like 32 demos on it. And like it always, like whenever I'd read like, oh, U2, you know, they wrote 60 songs for a new album, I'm like,
how did you write?
I was never able to do that, but I see that in your creative process. You have this like huge stock of material.
Yeah.
So how do you then trim it?
Again, I think it's just natural instinct. Like that's all I can pin it on. You know, like I don't do anything to. Well, I say I don't do anything. I guess just my natural practice. I do enhance those skills, but I don't mindfully do that, you know what I mean? So like, say with that hard drive with that bank of like 30 some guitar demos or whatever,
and some lyrics, some melody on there as well.
Yeah, definitely. Which also comes through because I loop stuff. So when with
have you tried the looper on the GX10?
I've not.
Neither have I, man. Yeah,
I've not figured out how to activate it yet.
Yeah. Your auto power off is about to.
It's just. Yeah. It's just every time, isn't it?
We don't want the auto power off.
No. Yeah. And so even like with looping guitars and layering guitars, then afterwards maybe some of the guitar parts actually translate to how the vocal melodies.
Yeah.
And that's just me mapping it out unconsciously, really. You know, I'm just doing it. Wait, subconsciously.
Yeah.
Not unconscious doing that.
Hammered drunk.
I mean, that is a skill.
Songwriting. I mean, basically, I just write when I'm literally obliterated.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, that was always my approach.
But with back to Trip Me Up, with the whole like verse 1 versus verse 2 and how they're different melodies and stuff. And I think, well, I guess I can do that when I'm writing it as one, but in particular for Trip Me Up, that's purely because I wrote the verse 1 originally back like in 2017 times, like, you know, and then revisited the track for this album in 2022 originally, and didn't have a verse. I only had the verse 1 and chorus, so I didn't have that verse 2.
Mad.
And so then I was trying to kind of shift my mind back into where I was mentally and back in, you know, 2017. But your frontal lobe starts, you know, developing.
Yeah.
And I try and like kind of tap into that naivety, really, of how I was.
Which is,
you know, I love that.
and it is a skill of the writer to be able to do that. Any writer will tell you, you know, that is part of like the thing, isn't it? Of like tapping into inhabiting the space that you know you were when you first created it, or you know, you know, if you're writing from someone else's perspective, which I know you've done a bit of that as well.
Yeah, well, such as Trip Me Up, you know,
right.
that's from one
I
of
didn't know
the
how much
girls.
of you was like,
well, that's,
you know, actually in that,
yeah,
as well as the.
I think that's from really that I've embodied the main character of that. Kirsten Dunst, I think, is the actor.
Get a little fact check on that. Is that correct? Yeah. Lisa's
From
nodding,
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
The OG Spider-Man.
Anything with like any kind of outfit. Like, this is my rules for films.
Yeah.
Anything with an outfit. If somebody's wearing an outfit like on screen, turn it off, man. Not interested. Superheroes or like anything like that. Nonsense.
I mean,
Keep
first
Marvel, get
Spider-Man
rid of it.
though was like, I mean, excellent.
No?
Just first,
You
can't beat that.
The Sam Raimi trilogy.
Yeah.
I mean, the third film was a little bit like
Just
questionable. But
awful. all dreadful, I would say. But anyway.
Well, just an embarrassing fact. I used to cry as a child because when I'd wake up, I wasn't Spider-Man. I used to cry because I didn't have the Spidey powers. I used to actually really be really, really upset. And now I only do it occasionally. So
No, it's just once or twice a week.
I'll write a song about it. That's for sure.
I'd like to bring it back to the album at this point. Now we've had a sort of a chat about Trip Me Up. It's a cracking piece of work, you know, just looking at it. Presumably available to buy if people want to.
Absolutely. There are just a few copies going around these days on my Bandcamp. But yeah, get it out.
Nice.
So it's on a nice.
Look at that.
Interesting.
That is
green.
For the Fender fans out there. I would call that Sherwood green.
Oh. So yeah, very nice.
Really cool.
So do buy it.
I'm
really selling it, aren't I? I'm like, yeah, just it's nice. Buy it.
It is. I mean, it's a great record, and of course,
let the music do the talking.
You can listen to it on Spotify and I presume on Bandcamp and stuff. There's some tracks on there that, as we've said, we haven't performed with the band. We've had a couple of great shows come in, which, you know, basically acoustic type shows. You know, no rhythm section type shows, and that has given us the chance to sort of look at a couple of those songs, and it reminded me, you know, what I always think is like, if it's a great song, you know, you can sort of strip it back to that like bare bones, and it will still translate. Which of those have you most enjoyed playing in that environment?
Oh, what, in the
strip back?
Yeah. Ooh.
Or that surprised you that it's worked off the record?
Probably My Devotion as a surprise, because I think it's hard for my mind to wrap around it a bit, because obviously recording it and making it, it's a bit more, I don't know, it's got more like a electronic elements to it, I guess. So to hear it, just on guitar basically, and it working with also not just as chords, but obviously featuring like the different little random melody parts.
Yeah, and I was able to drop.
It was actually really. yeah, really, really cool actually, and quite refreshing, I guess. Yeah. So I was surprised. Yeah, because for me, it's hard to wrap my head around that song really in a way of like pulling that apart and how would that work. Into Dusk, I think, is my favourite to perform, I'm not going to lie, just because I think it captures like the intimacy of that particular track.
Can I stop you there? That song was on a CD of demos.
Oh God.
That, Bryony gave to me, and it was in the car, as is, off on the way. And Lucy's driving the car with her mom, and let's just say, like, Linneo was a big fan of that song. That's Lucy's mom. What was her review?
She said, "Oh, this is nice music. What's this?" It was before there was any like vocals on it. It was just like
The instrumental kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what it's it's a nice album, so buy it. It's nice, 4 stars.
I want to finish with just like, as you might guess, like a GX10 tip. Just pop your headphones on, Bryony, so you can hear as well. Bryony's, first of all, not playing electric guitar. She's playing acoustic guitar on this. And, I just wanted you to just briefly talk about how you've got that set up.
How we jig to that.
Yeah, because it is great. It's great. Now, and it's, first of all, it relates to, the main thing here is that it relates to your playing styles. Yeah. So what's the deal?
What's the deal? What's the crack? So basically there's two settings I kind of switch between, and at the moment it's for strumming, and then by clicking this one I then it switches onto a different compressor.
Different
I believe,
compressor
right?
and EQ.
For finger picking, because obviously that's more delicate.
Yeah.
So this is just at naked. And then
now just switch to a little. Nice.
It is kind
That's
of
really
cool.
cool. It's very
subtle.
But it's very subtle. That's what's cool about it.
Yeah.
And like if you go onto the finger picking, and just do anything, like give us a bit of you are here.
I was already 1 step ahead there.
That's super cool, isn't it?
So that's a super roomy, but spacey.
And what? Let me just
My technical terms.
join it. It's all good stuff. Sorry for ruining that.
It's all right.
It's going so well.
You coming back round?
Really cool, man.
Gorgeous.
So there you
nice.
go. Like, I'm sure it's not news to anyone out there that acoustic players use multi-effects as well. But that is, I think, that's just using. There's no, it's not like there's any acoustic specific effects on there. But I just think that is a great, tasteful use of that piece of gear. I could listen to that all day, man. That is a great sound, and it works perfectly for your.
Well, for my songwriting, really. Not only performance, not only live performance, but obviously as a songwriter, as any creative, no matter what field you're in, obviously it ebbs and flows, doesn't it? I've just been actually part of this songwriting course with Laura Marling, with this company called School of Song, which
that's cool.
Tash put me onto.
Oh wow, cool!
Just to
shout out Tash.
Absolutely.
Hope you're well. Love her.
And Laura was on about this her cycle of creativity and her flow, and kind of signposting it as like you've got the breathing in period where you're absorbing everything around you. You're quite naturally as well, and you're just taking it all in. Like you know, whether that's other different formats of art, like going to art galleries, and then you've got the breathing out period, which is actually like. I think anyway, it's then either making the record and then releasing it, and then you're kind of in that lull. Then you're kind of like literally breathing out. You're just kind of like letting it all go, and then you've got to return to that breathing in. But it's that in between part for me which scares me.
I think.
When do you naturally return to that?
That's a really good point.
But again, that kind of I don't think you can really. You guess you can. Force it in ways, but it does have to be natural.
Well, if you're a professional, like, then basically you're stuck with the fact that, like, once you've done the breathing in and you've breathed out, you've then got to exist in that lull touring for 18 months, 2 years, haven't you? Because most people don't really write well when they're like really busy gigging and stuff. As you know.
Well, no, because you really don't have the time.
You don't have the time, and it's not really the right environment for most writers.
Yeah.
And so that's what I mean. That probably comes into the fact that, you know, like why a lot of artists actually struggle on tour is because it interrupts that natural rhythm of like creation, if you like.
But with the GX, like I think
the GX, like just shorten it, get rid of the 10.
Just the GX, you know. Is it, like I was saying, like I guess there are ways you can kind of I don't want to use the word force, but like inspire, I guess, you know, your creativity. And I think for me, the GX10 has been a tool for that, really. Because you can pick up your guitar and you can play the same chords that you've done, and you can think, oh, I'm just repeating myself.
Or even play songs that you've done already. And just like really work on the sounds. That is such a great acoustic guitar sound. And obviously, like, to record Bryony today, we are DI into the GX10. We're mono out of the GX10 straight into my interface, and we're combining that with this mic. And obviously it's coming through on the vocal mic as well when you're hearing that. But yeah, really simple, but it just elevates it a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I think we're probably at the point where let's do another song, shall we, Bri?
Of course.
Okay. Do you want to introduce it?
We're going to do the final track off the album, which is Into Dusk. Just to, you know, if you've made it this far, to leave you on kind of this melancholic, introspective
vibe
feeling, basically. Essentially, I want you to have an existential crisis when you listen to this.
Sundays sound better with an existential crisis.
You know, there you go. That's.
And that is where we shall leave it.
Yeah, sad Sundays.
To our feelings like they're dead. Morning hour passing like we fucked it again. Let's not beat ourselves up, I'll still be here into dusk. It hurts to lie down the drain I go, sinking into my skin like I'm living for go. Analyze my mind, let me know what you find. I'm yours to keep, I'm yours to play, to die. I'm yours to keep, I'm yours to break, to die. Body sleeping next to mine. I love our touch, softly intertwined. 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 I love
want to thank Bryony for being a great guest. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this, give us a like. Excuse the headphone hair. Subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Lucky's watching the show.
Bucky, you watching?
That's it.
You got a doggy audience.